Joseph Duggar's arrest is the kind of story that doesn't just make headlines, it lingers, it unsettles people, and it raises questions that go far beyond a single individual. Because when a name tied to a once highly visible, deeply religious, and tightly structured family ends up back in the spotlight for something this serious, people don't just react, they start connecting dots, revisiting the past, and questioning everything they thought they knew. This isn't just another celebrity scandal, it's the kind of situation that forces a deeper look into patterns, environments, and the hidden dynamics that don't always show up on camera. As of the latest developments, Joseph Duggar, known from the long-running reality TV shows that documented the Duggar family's strict lifestyle and values, is now facing extremely serious allegations tied to an incident that reportedly happened years ago. What makes this even more unsettling is how long it took for this to come to light. This wasn't something that surfaced immediately. Instead, it stayed buried until now. The alleged victim, now a teenager, came forward and shared her account of what she says happened during a family trip to Panama City Beach, Florida, back in 2020. That delay is something that many people are focusing on because it highlights how difficult it can be for victims, especially young ones, to speak out, particularly when the accused is someone within a close-knit and highly influential family structure. That trip to Panama City Beach, Florida, was supposed to be just another family getaway, the kind of trip filled with beach days, shared meals, and the usual routines that come with a large family traveling together. But according to the allegations, something deeply inappropriate happened during that time. The victim claims that Joseph touched her inappropriately when she was just 9 years old, and what has shaken people even more is the context in which this allegedly occurred. Reports suggest that this wasn't in complete isolation, it was in a setting where others were nearby, which raises deeply uncomfortable questions about awareness, oversight, and how something like this could take place without immediate intervention. As the investigation progressed, one of the most serious aspects to emerge was the claim that Joseph didn't just deny the allegations outright. Instead, authorities say he acknowledged the behavior in conversations with family members and later during questioning. That detail has significantly impacted public perception because it changes the narrative from accusation alone to something that feels far more concrete and troubling. His arrest in March 2026 in Arkansas marked the moment when this story moved from private allegations into a full public legal case. And from that point on, everything began to escalate quickly. Legal steps were taken, paperwork was filed, and Joseph made the decision to waive extradition. That means he agreed to be transferred to Florida, where the alleged incident took place, and where he will face the charges formally. The charges themselves are severe and carry serious consequences. They involve allegations of lewd and inappropriate behavior with a minor under the age of 12. In legal terms, this is among the most serious categories of offenses, and if proven in court, the penalties could include long-term imprisonment and permanent consequences that extend far beyond any sentence. But just as the public began to process this, another twist added even more weight to the situation. Joseph's wife, Kendra Duggar, was also arrested shortly afterward. While her charges are said to be unrelated to the Florida allegations, they are still deeply concerning. She faces multiple counts involving endangering the welfare of a minor and false imprisonment. And even though officials have stated that these charges stem from a separate situation, the timing has made it impossible for people not to see a connection, or at least question whether there is one. The fact that both parents are now dealing with legal issues has intensified concern, especially when it comes to their children. People are asking difficult questions about what life was like inside that household. Was there anything unusual happening that went unnoticed? Were there warning signs? And if so, were they ignored, dismissed, or simply never recognized? Kendra was released after posting bond, but that doesn't bring any closure to the situation. If anything, it adds another layer of uncertainty, because now, instead of one legal case, there are multiple threads unfolding at the same time. And then came the response that truly shifted the narrative in a powerful way. Amy Duggar King, Joseph's cousin, stepped forward and spoke openly, and her words carried a weight that only someone close to the family could bring. She didn't offer a carefully filtered statement. She didn't stay neutral. Instead, she addressed the situation with emotion, honesty, and a level of directness that immediately caught public attention. She described the situation as heartbreaking, but what stood out most was her choice of words. She referred to what she believes is a toxic family cycle. That phrase has echoed across social media and discussions ever since. Because when someone from within the extended family suggests that this isn't just an isolated incident, it changes everything. It transforms the conversation from one person's alleged actions into something much broader, something systemic. Amy expressed that while she was shocked by the details, she wasn't entirely surprised that another situation like this had emerged. And that statement alone has led people to revisit the Duggar family's history in a much more critical light. The shadow of past controversies is impossible to ignore. The family has already been through a major scandal involving Joseph's older brother, which resulted in a conviction and significant prison time. That case alone led to widespread scrutiny, public backlash, and the eventual collapse of the family's television presence. Now, with Joseph facing his own allegations, many are asking whether there were deeper issues that were never fully addressed. Amy made it clear that her focus is on the victim. She spoke about the importance of truth, accountability, and ensuring that children are protected above all else. Her emotional reaction, including moments where she struggled to hold back tears, has resonated with many people who see her as someone willing to break silence in a situation where silence has often been the norm. She also hinted that there may be more beneath the surface, that this story might not be complete yet, and that suggestion has fueled even more speculation, with people wondering whether additional details or even additional cases could eventually come forward. Online, reactions have been intense, emotional, and deeply divided. Some people are expressing outrage and demanding justice, not just in this case, but in a broader sense. They are calling for accountability, transparency, and a deeper investigation into how situations like this are handled within tightly controlled environments. Others are focusing on the bigger picture, discussing how certain family structures or belief systems might unintentionally create conditions where victims feel unable to speak out. There's a growing conversation about how power dynamics, reputation, and internal handling of issues can sometimes silence those who need to be heard the most. At the same time, there are voices urging caution, reminding everyone that legal cases take time, that evidence must be examined, and that the courts, not public opinion, will ultimately determine the outcome. But even among those calling for patience, there's a shared understanding that the allegations themselves are serious and cannot be ignored. One of the most talked about aspects of this entire situation is the idea of patterns. When similar allegations emerge more than once within the same family, it naturally leads people to ask whether there are underlying issues that haven't been fully addressed. Is this simply a case of individual wrongdoing? Or is there something deeper, something systemic that needs to be examined? That question is at the center of this entire conversation, and it doesn't have an easy answer. The Duggar family built its public image around a very specific set of values: faith, discipline, structure, and a lifestyle that was presented as an example to others. For years, that image was carefully maintained and widely broadcast. But over time, cracks began to show. Controversies emerged, and now those cracks have widened into something that can no longer be ignored. This is no longer just about maintaining an image, it's about facing reality. It's about accountability. It's about acknowledging that something may have gone wrong and understanding what that means moving forward. As legal proceedings continue, more information is expected to come out. Court hearings, testimonies, evidence, all of these will play a role in shaping what happens next. But beyond the legal process, there's a broader conversation happening in real time, a conversation about family, power, silence, and the courage it takes to speak out. For now, the story remains unfinished. There are still unanswered questions. What exactly happened during that trip in 2020? What did others know, if anything, and when? What led to the charges against Kendra, and how did they fit into the overall situation? And perhaps most importantly, are there more voices that haven't been heard yet? These questions are why this story continues to hold attention and why people are watching closely as new details emerge. Because this isn't just about one arrest, it's about a family that once represented a certain ideal, now facing repeated allegations that challenge everything that image stood for. It's about the voices that are finally speaking out and the possibility that others may follow. It's about understanding how situations like this happen and what can be done to prevent them in the future. And as this story continues to unfold, one thing remains certain: this is far from over. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.